In this video, we're going over exactly how much the brand new eBay store has made in its first 2 months of operations. That's right guys, if you're new to the channel or haven't been following what's going on recently, I started a brand new eBay store about 2 months ago, actually just about late September is when we started. I started it with a partner this time. His name is Airval. He'll be linked down below and you can check out his channel. But we basically started this store with the intention of seeing how quickly we could grow a big store with 2 of us working on it. And when we can list more products, have more capacity to buy more stuff and ship more stuff as 2 people working as a partnership. Now, for those of you who don't know, I have quite a few eBay stores. I have a couple other ones that do pretty well, the video game stores you probably see behind me, and then another one that's related all to wholesale products and then selling some general items as well. I also in the past had a clothing store dedicated on eBay. I had a Pokemon card store that actually related to some other card stuff about 2 or 3 years ago, but I shut both of those down. So right now I just run the other 2. This is right now currently still the smallest store that I have, but it is of course an up and coming one. It's only 2 months old and we still don't have much feedback, so we're still getting into things. With that all said though, I do have some results here for the first couple months and I wanted to come on here and share with you guys, be fully transparent and tell you guys how much you could expect to make maybe if you were starting a brand new eBay store in these last 2 months. So let's not waste a second here and jump right into the numbers. First of all, I'm going to cover the amount that we paid for all of our inventory on a monthly basis. Just want to go over roughly how much we paid, and then I'll break down exactly how much we've sold, the quantity of which we've, how many items we've sold, the cost of our goods sold, and then the profits. I'll try to throw some things up on the screen too to help make this a little bit more clear for those of you guys who are following, so you're not just hearing me shout a bunch of numbers at you, but hopefully I can kind of keep this video fairly straightforward. So September was our first month of operation technically, but again, we started in about the last week of September, so I can't really count that much as a month. Really, we've only been doing it for 2 solid months here. But in September, we started off buying things at Value Village. We bought about 75 items for a total of about $405. In our second month, October, we bought about 55 items for $392. And most recently in November, we spent $225 on 38 items. So that's sort of a breakdown of the total that we spent on inventory. Now you'll notice that since we started, it's actually been declining in terms of how much stuff we've been buying every month. That's for a couple reasons. First of all, in September, it was much easier to go into Value Village and buy stuff. They were more open. And now, of course, they're all locked down here. So it's very difficult to actually find products, especially now in late November, heading into December. But there are still some locations that we can go to that are outside of the area that we live. In addition to that, though, it's just been more picked over and it's been more busy. There's been multiple times when I've gone and there's been lineups outside for, 20, 30 people. And I'm not going to line up that far or that much to pick up a few items. So overall, it's been definitely harder to source inventory, and that's why you see that number going down, and that does affect the overall performance of the business here in the first couple months. Take that in total, though, there's 168 items for just over $1,000. I think it's like $1,023 is what we've actually spent on this business, which is a pretty good amount. Obviously, we've spent a little bit more than that. We've got some supplies expenses, some other, related expenses, but $1,000 in inventory, generally speaking, is a pretty solid amount to start you off with a pretty good eBay store. Overall here, you're going to see with the numbers we returned, we managed to make some pretty good money so far. But again, it is hard, of course, when you're starting a store without any feedback and without any sort of, sales from before in terms of ranking on eBay. I'll get into that a little bit later in the video, but let's now break down exactly what we've done in sales, exactly what our cost of goods sold were on there, and then finally the profit that we were able to secure over the last 2 months. Jumping right into sales, for the last little bit of September, we were able to make a few sales because we did get some items up in that last sort of week. We did $196 in sales. That was for the sale of 4 different products. Our cost of goods sold was about $87 for that first month. And again, for those of you who don't know, the cost of goods sold includes everything from the inventory expense, the eBay fees that we encountered, the PayPal fees, and all of the shipping, as well as any taxes that we owed out to eBay, and any sort of freight charges that it may have cost us to get the items there. All those things, basically everything except for the shipping materials, those are classified as a different type of expense because those are supplies in our business case. But in that case, that's exactly what I mean by the cost of goods sold. So yeah, $87 in cost of goods sold for September, and then about $108 profit. And these are all sort of rounded up. I'm not including the cent figures, but there you go, $108 profit in our first month of operations, which is not that bad. In October, we stepped things up a little bit, started to list a few more items, and we were able to pick up a couple more items as you saw there in the beginning. We actually made $687 in sales in our second month. Now, again, these numbers are not going to blow your mind. They're still not amazing, and there's definitely ways that we could have improved them and done more. For example, we weren't listing every single day. This is still sort of a part-time thing for both of us, so we are not putting in every hour of the day and every, all the effort that we could be putting into these stores. This is also a brand new store with very little feedback, like I said, and it's not coming up top of the, eBay search fields right now because, again, we are still brand new. I think we have like 6 or 7 pieces of feedback. So at the time of recording this, we were still a very brand new store, And again, that is part of the reason why we're not getting those sales. Anyway, that being said, $687 is still not bad for the second month. Our cost of goods on that was about $355. And we were left with a $317 profit for the month of October. So for our second month, but really our first month in operations, it's still not bad. And I'll get into this later in the video again, but for our margins and in terms of our sell-through rate, we're still hitting the marks I was hoping on, just a little bit less volume than I would have liked. But overall, some pretty good results for our second or first technical month. Now we head into November, which is where I really expected things to take off, but unfortunately we had a rough month going in November. The first couple weeks were spent, I was very busy doing a whole bunch of other tasks down here, so I didn't get around to listen too much. And my partner in this is in school, so he's doing a lot of stuff related to that as well. But of course, we did try to do our best, but unfortunately sales did fall in November and we just wrapped it up. Anyway, we did $474 in total revenue in November. I know it's not as much as I would have liked. I would have easily liked to have seen us hit that $1,500, $2,000 mark going in November, and that was sort of the goal going into things. But again, things don't always go as planned, and that's why I'm trying to come out and make this video with full transparency, explaining to you guys why, maybe we didn't necessarily hit those marks and what my plan is to make sure that we hit those marks going on in the future. Anyway, $474 in revenue in November. Cost of goods sold on that was $292. And that left us with $182 profit for November. You'll also notice that the profit margin there was not as good. It's about 38%. I'm aiming to hit over 40 every single month. We sold some lower ticket items. We did sell a couple big ones, but again, mainly some lower ticket items in November. And we didn't do as many sales as I would have liked. So unfortunately, we were not able to hit the margin goal there either. Real quick though, I forgot to mention, we sold 4 items in September, 17 items in October, and 13 sales in November, which led to a total of 34 sales so far on the brand new eBay page. So let's break all these down in terms of the numbers and what the business is actually doing here. Basically speaking, we've done about $1,300 of sales for about $1,000 worth of investments. At least the sales figure is higher than what we've put into the actual business in terms of buying the merchandise, because that would have been a real bad sign if it wasn't. So I'm glad to see that. Our overall margin is about 44.7%. And that's the gross margin. That's not, it's before all of our additional expenses that come. Luckily with this business, there are not a lot of additional expenses. We might see some things in terms of some supplies expenses, maybe some, equipment expenses or depreciation expenses of that nature, but nothing too significant for this side of the business. So luckily that is basically going to be our profit for the first 3 months here. Let's talk about our sell-through rate. We bought about 168 items and we sold 34 of them so far. Some of those items still aren't listed yet. So, some of those I just picked up in the most recent haul. I think I got, another 15 of those are from the most recent haul and they haven't even been listed yet. But overall, the sell-through rate is about 10% per month, which is right about where I want to be. It'd be nice to see it at, 15% and maybe even a little bit higher. But with the nature of things that we're selling and in the current climate of the economic conditions going around, it's about expected, and the 10% margin, I will take it for right now. Overall, though, again, when you look at our, total revenue figures, $1,300, about $600 profit, about $1,000 invested. These are all some pretty solid marks here for the first month. Again, if you were doing this sort of solo and part-time, that would be a pretty decent amount, which is roughly what we're doing here. So it's not too bad. I would have liked to, again, though, seen it go much higher here heading into the third month. We are going to make that our goal heading into December, although I think we're going to be pretty tricky getting it off there because, again, with all the stores still closed, it's going to be so hard to source items. So realistically, I'm kind of thinking that heading into January and the new year, hopefully things will start to look better and we can start to hit those sort of $2,000 to $3,000 a month marks. And eventually with our projections, we aim to get, up to that $10,000 a month mark. I think that would be pretty sweet and still doable. With 2 people, that should be easily doable if we put, enough time into it and finding enough products. So I'm excited to get to there and I'm excited to see how we can work to get there. But overall, I think we'll have no problem doing that here in the next, maybe 6 to 12 months. With that all said, though, that is full transparency. That's exactly how much I made on the new eBay store. I didn't want to break it down in terms of, I didn't want to make things up, obviously. I didn't want to, not release this video because the targets weren't hit. I just wanted to come out and say exactly how much I made, maybe, explain to you guys that things don't always go to plan on eBay and, that's just how it goes. And businesses don't always work out the way that you project them to do. We made a bunch of projections when we started, and unfortunately, just for November alone here, we haven't reached those projections. But overall, I'm still pretty confident in this business's ability to make money going on in the future. But yeah, hopefully you guys were able to find some value out of this video. Again, I tried to release everything here that I know about the business and try to give you guys all the data that you might need to consider if you were thinking about getting into an eBay business. Again, not the best example. I think you could do a lot better. But again, just with a couple of the things that we had to go through there, the struggles that we dealt with in these last couple months, those are some of the reasons why we weren't able to reach those goals. And again, take this as a part-time eBay store. Don't take this as a full-time store because again, we were not putting full-time hours into this. But again, there you go. That's a little bit of a look into the brand new eBay store and give you guys a breakdown of the entirety of what it's made. With that said, I am going to end today's video here. Again, hopefully you found some value out of it. Comment down below. Maybe let me know if you guys appreciated this type of video where I sort of go and break down things. I can do them for my other stores maybe in the future. And I think that could be very valuable to some of you guys. I would have to gather some more accounting information to figure it all out, but there's no reason why I couldn't. And we could come out with a video like this for each of those if you want to see a breakdown. Let me know in the comments and we could definitely make it happen. Also, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed and subscribe to the channel if you're brand new. Hit the little bell notification so you never miss a video. And I will see you guys all in the next one.